This story revolves around a girl named Lucy, who goes on a vacation to a beautiful Middle Eastern country with her boyfriend, David. However, upon arriving, David is unable to join her on the trip due to an important work commitment. Frustrated by this, Lucy decides to embark on a lonely desert trip. During her journey, she encounters a stranger named Ben. This unexpected meeting changes the course of their lives forever. The story begins with a thrilling scene where two individuals are climbing down a dangerous cliff. Suddenly, their footing slips, and they both fall. The narrative then shifts to a flashback. David is a highly competent lawyer, while Lucy works as a food chemist. They are deeply in love and are on the verge of getting married. To celebrate their bond, they decide to vacation in a Middle Eastern country. After arriving, they check into a luxurious hotel. During dinner, David arrives late, while Lucy is already seated at the table. In the meantime, a stranger named Ben sends her a famous dish to impress her. Lucy finds this gesture flattering, but David soon joins her. David shares the good news that he has won an important case and is about to receive a significant amount of money as compensation. To mark this joyous occasion, he proposes to Lucy and presents her with a beautiful ring. Lucy gladly accepts his proposal. The next morning, the couple plans a desert trip. However, David is called for an urgent video conference. Disappointed, Lucy decides to go on the trip alone. During her solo journey, she crosses paths with Ben once again. Ben invites her to join him for a trek on a famous mountain. Initially hesitant, Lucy eventually agrees to accompany him. Driving through the desolate desert roads, they finally arrive at the mountain. From there, Lucy gets a breathtaking view of the entire desert, which fills her with immense joy. The scene is mesmerizing. Meanwhile, David is seen preparing for his online meeting. But he receives a call informing him that the board members have already made a decision, rendering the meeting unnecessary. Frustrated, David feels that his vacation has been wasted for no reason. Back on the mountain, Ben and Lucy prepare to spend the night there. Lucy asks Ben what he does for a living. Ben responds that he doesn't have a specific job and enjoys traveling to different places to save her life. They engage in conversations, share laughter, and enjoy each other's company. Lucy records videos during the night, and they have a pleasant time together. Ben starts developing feelings for Lucy, and Lucy also seems to be drawn to him. However, when Ben tries to kiss her, Lucy pulls away. The next morning, Lucy wakes up to see Ben paragliding down the mountain. She calls out to him, but he is already gone. Lucy finds a note from Ben stating that he will wait for her at the bottom. Summoning her courage, Lucy drives through the challenging mountainous terrain to meet Ben below. She faces several obstacles but finally reunites with him at the bottom. Meanwhile, David anxiously awaits Lucy's return. He inquires about the van that was supposed to bring her back, but someone informs him that Lucy wasn't in the van. Worried, David begins to wonder where Lucy could possibly be. On the other hand, Lucy angrily confronts Ben for putting her through so much trouble and wasting her time, as she was supposed to return to the hotel. After this, they start their journey back. On the way, Ben plays a music cassette while driving. However, after a while, Lucy finds the music annoying. Irritated, she removes the cassette and throws it outside. Ben stops the car, goes back, and retrieves the cassette. As he attempts to drive again, the car's tires get stuck in the sand. Ben tries hard to get the car out, but it sinks further into the sand. They had very little water left, and all around them were nothing but sand dunes and scorching winds. Observing this dire situation, Lucy asked Ben, "Isn't there another way out of here?" Ben replied, "No, we are now trapped in this desert. To get out, we'll have to cover a distance of 30 miles. It's better to travel at night when the winds are cooler." However, Lucy was stubborn. Instead of listening to Ben, she grabbed a water bottle in her bag and set out on her own. She ventured into the blazing desert, where there was nothing in sight but sand, and escaping seemed nearly impossible. Lucy's stubbornness didn't take her far. After just an hour of walking, her water ran out, and she returned to Ben. Meanwhile, David had started asking around everywhere about Lucy. When he couldn't find any information, he went to the police station. There, an officer dismissed his concerns, saying, "Kidnappings are common here, we'll find her by evening." David, enraged, shouted, "I hate waiting," and struck the officer, who then angrily asked him to leave. Back in the desert, Lucy returned to Ben and began drinking from his water bottle. But Ben stopped her and said, "We need to conserve as much water as possible." Lucy agreed and admitted, "You were right, we should travel at night." Ben pulled out a map from his pocket and said, "We don't have to travel the full 30 miles. According to this map, there's a shortcut that will lead us to a road after just 12 miles. As evening approached, Ben said, "It's time for us to move." The two began their journey, walking for miles until Lucy became utterly exhausted. She told Ben, "I need to rest." However, Ben warned her that a storm was approaching soon. They tried to press on, but a fierce sandstorm suddenly engulfed them. The storm was so intense that they couldn't move forward. They tried their best, but Lucy couldn't go any further. Ben held her close, and they decided to lie down on the sand. On the other side, David received a call informing him of Lucy's last known location. When morning came and the storm subsided, Lucy and Ben were buried under a layer of sand. Lucy woke up and, after shaking Ben awake, pointed out a road in the distance with a vehicle passing by. Overwhelmed with joy, Lucy hugged Ben and exclaimed that they had finally found a way to safety. Containing their emotions, they began moving toward the road. However, they encountered a deep ravine on their path. Seeing this, their spirits began to waver. Ben remarked, "We'll have to cross this ravine to reach the road." Lucy asked, "Can't we climb down into the ravine and cross it?" Ben replied, "We're too exhausted. It's better if we rest for a while and then decide." Meanwhile, David arrived at Lucy's last known location and met an elderly man. This man was the same person from whom Ben had taken fuel. David showed him Lucy's picture and tried to gather more information. The old man recognized Lucy and informed David that she and Ben had gone trekking a few miles away. David offered him a generous amount of money to take him there. The man agreed and brought along two companions to assist him. Together, they set out to search for Lucy. Elsewhere, Ben and Lucy were resting under a large rock. After some rest, Ben began preparing a parachute. Lucy stopped him, saying, "Jumping is too risky, it's better if we climb down into the ravine." Ben agreed, and they started descending. This scene mirrored the opening of the story. While climbing down, Lucy kept slipping, and Ben supported her. Suddenly, Ben lost his footing and fell. Lucy also slipped and fell, and both tumbled to the bottom. Lucy lay unconscious but regained consciousness upon hearing Ben's voice. She saw Ben hanging precariously in a dangerous position. Gathering her courage, Lucy managed to pull Ben up. However, Ben had sustained a deep injury, with a stone lodged in his wound. Meanwhile, David reached the mountain where Ben and Lucy had been staying. There, David finds Lucy's camera, showing her happily spending time with Ben. David concludes that Lucy is content with Ben now and, out of frustration, decides to stop searching for her and return home. Ben, on the other hand, is unable to climb further due to the severity of his injuries. He tells Lucy to go up and attempt to jump using the parachute. For Lucy, this was a completely new challenge, but she had no other choice. Lucy climbs up and tries to fly with the parachute. She fails in the first 2 or 3 attempts but eventually succeeds and begins soaring through the air. After traveling quite a distance with the parachute, the air pressure disrupts her balance, and Lucy crashes into a rock and falls. Regaining consciousness, she searches for water and quenches her thirst. She realizes she has reached the bottom of the slope. Meanwhile, she spots a little girl who looks at her anxiously. Lucy tries to communicate with the girl by showing her a mobile phone and asks about her parents. The girl takes Lucy to her tribe. On reaching the tribe, Lucy collapses. The tribespeople help her recover. Elsewhere, David is driving while sleeping in the car when his companions spot Ben's vehicle along the way. They inspect the vehicle and, overcome by greed, hatch a plan to make money by selling its belongings. Lucy, with the help of the tribe, returns to rescue Ben and safely brings him back to the tribe. At night, Ben regains consciousness and feels relieved to see himself in a better condition. Lucy is by his side, and the two grow closer to each other. The next morning, the tribespeople prepare food for them. A young girl holds Lucy's hand and admires her, saying, "You are very brave and beautiful." At the same time, those two men, who had been searching for Ben and Lucy, arrive at the tribe. They see Ben and Lucy preparing to leave. They try to stop them, but Ben and Lucy attempt to escape in their car. In the end, it is revealed that the two men had already overpowered David and locked him in the car's trunk. One of the men asks Ben, "Where did you leave your car?" Ben replies, "It got stuck a little distance from the hill, so we had to come on foot." The man then offers, "If you want, we can take you to your car. From there, you can retrieve it, and we'll arrange a taxi for you." Ben and Lucy accept the offer, and they all head toward Ben's vehicle. After traveling some distance, they reach the spot where Ben's car was stuck. However, as soon as Ben and Lucy get out of the car, the two men point their guns at them and order them to kneel. In reality, the men had planned to sell both Ben and David. They quickly summon their buyer, who soon arrives. Then, they open the car's trunk to reveal David. It becomes clear that the deal was only to sell Ben and David. The buyer approaches Ben and strikes his injured leg, causing him to fall. Lucy rushes to Ben, but the buyer grabs her and says, "I'll pay extra for the girl." However, the two men refuse, saying, "We won't sell the girl." Hearing this, the buyer gives Lucy a lecherous look and orders her, "Take off your clothes." Lucy spits in his face out of rage. Enraged, the buyer attempts to shoot her, but at that moment, one of the two men fires a gun, initiating a firefight. In the exchange of gunfire, everyone except the buyer is killed. The buyer then approaches Lucy to kill her, but Ben, finding a gun nearby, shoots and kills the buyer. Despite all the hardships, Ben, Lucy, and David manage to survive. Weak from his injuries, Ben suggests, "Let the air out of the car's tires, it will get unstuck." David, puzzled, asks, "If you knew deflating the tires would work, why didn't you do it earlier?" Lucy asks the same question. Ben, smiling, replies, "Yes, I knew, but I intentionally prolonged this trip to spend more time with you." Hearing this, Lucy smiles and deflates the car's tires. The car gets unstuck, and the three of them head back to their destination. With this, the story comes to an end. Friends, if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. See you in the next video.